Are you so busy trying to improve your studio that you've stopped seeing what's already beautiful and present? If this is you, today's episode is for you. Welcome to Dance Studio Owner Life Coaching. I'm your host, Ginger, and today I want to talk about the difference between what we want and what we are chasing. Now, inside of my group coaching program last week, we were talking about this, and I challenged the members to consider for a moment what it is that they really want and what it is that they're chasing. And surprisingly, people were able to come up with what they were chasing, right? They understood what they were chasing in terms of their business and what it is that they really want. What was happening was people were answering in terms of the business. For example, people were talking about chasing these goals or making my studio look a certain way because I wanted us to be perceived a certain way by other people. And what I realized I actually want is this culture, this vibe, or whatever. The part that is deeper and at a more difficult level to come up with and understand is when I ask mostly women, when I ask women, what do you want? And I think it is so interesting that we have such a hard time answering that question. It could be something as simple as, what would you like for breakfast? And you can't come up with a clear answer for your spouse. It could be, what kind of ice cream would you like? Or are you going to wear the blue or the black dress? Sometimes it's easy to be decisive, but I'm finding more and more that we are able to be decisive in many areas of our life, but not on what our personal needs, wants, and desires are. We've spent so much time putting ourselves on the back burner, not putting ourselves as a priority because we're taught that is selfish, evil, and wrong, that we've lost sight of what it is we want. Sometimes we find ourselves wrapped up in trying to make more money, trying to have more students, trying to have a better building, this, more. And there's no point at which we get to rest and enjoy the fruits of our labors and what we've done. So many of us face this dilemma, and we don't even realize it's happening. Some people realized that they were chasing dance competitions and wanting to be the best, the very best, with the most highly trained dancers, only to find that it didn't actually fulfill their heart and make them feel good at the end of the day. Other people, they're just filled with this comparison, constantly thinking that the studio up the street, around the corner, or across town is their competition, and that if they do something and they are successful, that's going to take away from us. Sometimes we're so focused on just things that want us to get better. We have to get better. We have to get better. And the improvement trap disguises itself as dedication, but it robs us of our present joy. There's the pressure so many of us feel to offer everything, all these different styles of dance, all these special technical classes, more hours, the latest and greatest faculty. I'm not too far from New York City, and so many people say I have to hire all these New York City choreographers or get these expensive teachers, and I have to keep going and going and going. And what I'm finding is they're paying guest teachers more than they want to, more than they feel is appropriate based on what they are making in a salary, and they're not happy about it, but they feel like they have to, not that they want to. When we answer a question that has to do with our personal life with an answer that's talking about our business life, it goes to show how far disconnected we've become from ourselves when we respond, we are not our businesses. We are strong, resilient, amazing, creative individuals, but we are not our business. Our business was born out of our mind and our soul and all that is important and what we hoped and dreamed, but it is not us. I think this is an important question, my friends, for so many reasons, for so many of us to identify what it is we really want. The thing that made me want to bring this up is because about a year ago, my own coach that I was working with, she asked me this question. And for a while, I'd say 3 weeks, I had a really hard time coming up with the answer. I couldn't figure out what it was I actually even wanted for my life and where I am. What does it look like to live my life? Where do I want to work? Where do I want to be? What does my environment look like? What might my family and relationships be like? And finally, I came up with things. And I'll tell you, it was a pretty simple list of three basic things: a loving marriage, a loving family, and a beautiful home. That's it. Those are the things that are important to me, not my business, not chasing more followers on social media, not getting the latest handbag or anything. For me, it came away from being anything material or superficial. And for me, I wanted to be able to pass on a loving legacy for my family that whether I'm here or I pass, that they know love, they know connection, that I cared, that I was there, I was present in their lives. That's what's important to me. I challenge you to figure out what is that thing for you? What is it that you really want? I talked to a family member who works in a completely different field than what she dreams of. She said it's been many years she's dreamed of been doing something else, but just never went for it, just never took that step. And she thinks she may never do it. What is it like to say, I'd always wanted to do this, I always wanted to try this, I always thought I could impact people's lives if I did this, I always want to be on stage, I've always wanted to do these things, but you choose not to ever pursue it? That doesn't even fit the nature of who we are. As dance educators, as dance studio owners, we did what so many people didn't do. We had a dream and then we made it happen. We opened a business. We are providing jobs for other people. We are impacting people in our community, dancers, the audiences, the community. So, what I want to do next is give you an audit exercise. Look at your time. How are you spending your time? What are the things that are draining you of your energy? How much are you driven to make decisions based on what you think you should be doing or what you think people think that you should be doing? Or what are you doing because you're afraid that people will judge you for not doing it? When did you last feel truly satisfied with what you're doing? When did you last feel grateful for what you've created versus just making fix it lists? When we look at things like competition scores, followers, perfect recitals, and enrollment, let's look deeper. Is this about a shy child or a beginner adult dancer gaining confidence or developing as an artist? Is it about adding things because we felt like we had to keep up? Is it about grasping onto things because we're scared someone else could take them from us? Is it about collecting money? Is it about getting into a more beautiful space because we think it's going to get taken away from us and somehow someone else's success will rob that from us? What is your original vision? What did you do in the beginning, and why did you feel motivated, strong enough to open your business? Just for this week, I invite you to look at what you've already accomplished, to look at where your passion and your values are. Decide, what is it that I want from my studio? And then take it a step back and deeper and talk about what it is I want for myself, for my life, and for me and my future. How do I want to be remembered? How do I want to experience my life? How do I want to feel when I get home at the end of the day? What is it that you want? If you are just looking to try to figure out what it is you really want, you could find that it may not be running a studio. You could find that you don't want to teach dance classes anymore. Give yourself the space and the safety to say that's okay if that's how you're feeling today. You can take the time to explore that further, but I wanted to point this out because sometimes the scariest thing about talking about what we want means that change and something different might be around the horizon. It's that fear of change that can keep us where we are. That fear of, I don't even know how to do this other thing, that can stall us from moving forward and pursuing our passions, our purpose, our calling in life. If we take this time to do this work, to be with ourselves and our thoughts, and to journal and to pray and meditate, whatever it is that works for you, to figure out what it is you actually want. My friends, if you do this work, you will find a breakthrough and it will order your priorities differently in some cases. You may find that something has to change, and it could be a really great change for the better. I feel that once we get to the point of finally deciding what it is that we want, the next step is to write it out, to say it out loud, to give it to someone else. So now it's real. Now you're committing to it because you've told someone else, you've put it in writing. I encourage you to do this work. I encourage you to explore what it is you really want and see if there is this difference between what you want and what you are chasing. If you want to dive deeper into thought work like this, I have spots open and available in my coaching container, and you can learn more about that by visiting gingerhaycox.com/coaching, and we can book a breakthrough call. We'll figure out where you're at, what it is that you really want, and what steps need to come next to get you on the path to getting those things that you truly want. I'll talk to you all next time. Take care.